Hey, hey, and welcome to After Hours here at Linda's Electric Quilters.
We are super excited to have you here with us tonight to talk all things pantograph, right?
All things pantographs. We love the pantographs.
We always get tons of questions on pantographs over the phone. What size can I use? I have a certain throat space. What patterns, easier patterns, harder patterns, all those good questions that we get over the phone all the time and on the chat. So we thought we've done a video before. So if you've seen some of our pantograph videos, it might be repetitive, but we always like to bring it refresh and talk about a few new things at the same time.
But I also don't think repetition's a bad thing.
Probably not.
I think it also, you always gain something, even if it's one little tip from a video, even if you've seen, 7 different versions of it.
Yeah.
One little tip can change the whole game.
That's true, that's true. Is that why you rewatch your Star Wars stuff all the time?
All the time. I catch something different
tip?
every time. I've got a new tip for it every time.
There you go, there you go. Welcome everyone, thanks for watching us live. Randy and Barb, thanks for being on. And then Lisa, so awesome. All right, I know there's a lot more other people. Those are just people in the chat right now that we see. So thank you guys for watching us and being with us tonight.
So where do you want to start?
I think we need to describe what a pantograph is for maybe somebody that's brand new that doesn't understand what a pantograph is. Okay. So a pantograph is basically a piece of paper that has a printed pattern on it, reference kind of like this, that you purchase, and we'll get closer up of some of the things, to follow with a laser light on your quilting machine. So a pantograph is usually most of the time usually only on machines or on tables because you're going the distance. It's not necessarily for a sit down because I mean there's patterns out there for that, but pantographs are a little bit harder for that.
Right, yeah, because pantographs are made to be reused over and over again.
Correct.
Where with sit-down model machines, they have tearaway patterns for those, and those are kind of a one-and-done type of thing.
Correct, so this is a little bit different.
It's a little different, yeah.
You're still getting a pattern out of it, but you're reusing it over and over and over and over again. I mean, we have some customers that will still always go back to their good old faithful ones and have used it probably 200 times.
So that's $10. They are making it worth it.
Exactly.
That $10.
Well, it used to be 10. Now
it
they're
used to be
around
10,
20,
but still, I mean, you're making it worth it 200 times, it's $18. I'll get back to you on the math. I'm not a math major, but...
Well, let's just say a penny.
There you go.
Anyway, so that's what a pantograph is. It comes on a piece of paper. No matter where you purchase it from, whether you purchase ours that we print ourselves, whether you purchase the Urban Elements that we sell, or if you buy them from an offsite from another designer. I was trying to think of the right word.
Vendor, designer, distributor.
Anyway. That's what a pantograph is. Okay, it's mainly used for obviously hand-guided machines. Some computerized machines want to try it, but they also have computerized digital patterns that they can use. So it's the same theory. It's called edge-to-edge in a computerized machine. Hand-guided machine is called a pantograph. Did I describe that good enough?
You're doing wonderful. I should just take a seat. I think you're doing great. I can go, I'll just...
You're so funny.
Go ahead. No, that's great.
And if you do have a digital system and you're watching us, it's still kind of fun to learn these tips. And we do sell all these patterns in digital as well.
Except for the Urban Elements.
We sell all of our patterns. We don't sell Urban Elements. But we sell all of our patterns digitally as well.
Correct.
So it kind of gives you an idea when we show you what we show you in a few minutes, how it works in a pantograph system.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, we also get a lot of questions you were talking about earlier when it comes to sizing of the design and what goes with your throat space.
Correct.
On our website, longarmsupplies.net, when you look at the pantograph section, at the very top of the page, there is a little chart breakdown that talks to you about your machine throat space versus which size pattern you should probably stick with. These are just recommendations. If you've used a larger one with your smaller throat and it's worked, that's awesome. But you always have to remember, let's say for instance, if you have a 18-inch throat space, you kind of want to stay within about a 10-inch height pattern.
Correct.
Because an 18-inch throat does not mean an 18-inch quilting area.
Well, it can still, so let's say an 18-inch throat means a 14-inch quilting area. So Corey, why can't I use a 14-inch pattern?
You could, for probably the first row.
Exactly.
Because eventually that quilt starts to wind up on that bar that goes through the center of your machine. As that quilt gets larger and larger, you start to lose quilting area.
Yeah, even if you have a dead bar in your machine, you're still going to lose a little bit of quilting area. So we've noticed by the time you get down to your last couple rows, with an 18-inch machine that you only had 10 inches left to do that pattern. So that's why we recommend 10-inch patterns.
Right.
So that way you can use the pattern for the whole quilt.
Right. Basing it off of a super big king-size quilt. We tried to go off of the largest quilt that you would probably want to do on your machine, and that's where those size numbers come from.
And we can just show them the chart real quick. You want to switch to that camera and they can just take a screenshot of this in case they don't see it on our website.
Yeah. So this is
kind of our in-store chart, but the same thing.
Kind of that chart that we follow in here. So a 16-inch throat, 8-inch pattern. It goes with throat size first and then panto size after that, max size. You can always go smaller than that, of course.
Correct.
Yeah. Always go smaller than that. But max size on that one. So bringing that into perspective, we also get a lot of questions on kind of, well, what if I don't even have an 18-inch throat? I have a short arm machine. I don't have a long arm machine.
Yeah, I have a 9-inch. It usually goes from 18 to 9.
Right, it drops drastically.
Well, 16, so 16 and then 9.
Yeah, it goes pretty low after that. But we also have different series of patterns. So we have a 700 series and an 800 series.
Yeah.
And understanding those, the numbers on the pattern, they are in number order on our website. So when we say 700 series, you might have to scroll for a little bit to get to those, but it'd be 7 something, or then it'd be 8 something.
Yeah.
So
to give an example of that, because we always get a question, you want to start with the 800 series?
Yeah, we'll start with the 800. So the 800 series, there are 3 patterns per roll.
Yeah,
and
there are 3 different patterns per roll.
Right.
So you're actually getting, multiple patterns.
More bang for your buck.
Yeah. So this is just one of them, just an idea.
Yeah, one of the 800 series. This one's 807. But there's 3 different 7.5-inch rows on this one sheet. There's a dotted line in between the rows where you can cut with scissors. So then you have 3 separate pieces of paper to follow. But you kind of get more bang for your buck, and we're putting in smaller sizes.
Yeah.
So you don't have a 14-inch design and a 7-inch, and you can only use the 7-inch, and you're kind of stuck with the 14.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that we have these available, the 800 series and 700 series for those smaller throat machines.
Right.
And so what we did is we just combined multiple patterns onto one sheet, so you get, like you said, more bang for your buck if you have a smaller throat. The 700 series is a 4.5-inch pattern, so it's like for that 9-inch throat.
Yeah.
So if you have that 9-inch throat, and there's all different kinds. This is just the one I grabbed before we came back.
The 702. But this one has 5 different patterns on it, so that way you can use every single one of these for your size throat machine. Another cool thing about these really small ones is we also see people using them for borders.
I was going to say that. You can use it for borders,
we also see people using them for borders. The 700 series is great for that because most borders are roughly this size.
Yeah.
And so they work really well for overall quilting or also for doing border quilting.
So each series has about 20 different patterns, which means about 100 different patterns altogether. 20 different sheets. I messed that up.
The 8 and the 700 series.
Yeah.
Okay. The 100 series and the 200 series, there's hundreds.
No, there's hundreds of those.
Yeah.
But these, we've just kind of picked the most popular patterns at the time when we made these. So that way you guys had options. And so we just wanted to make you guys aware of those two, that we do have patterns for smaller machines, and we have combined them in that way. So another thing that we do is we probably are a little bit different on how we do our pantographs. So we print all of ours in-house. You order it, we print it type of thing, which allows us to have 3 patterns on one sheet. So
depending on which pattern you get.
Depending on what,
not all pantographs have 3 per sheet.
Between 2 and 3 patterns. It'll tell you on the website.
It'll tell you what size they are and what on the website, which ones come with it. But again, comes on that larger sheet of paper. Thank you. So you have 3 different sizes that come in that whatever price range that it is.
For instance, this is meandering. It's probably one of our most popular, obviously, because it's easy. And for here you get a 4-inch, a 6-inch, and a 10-inch. So a lot of people will call and say, well, I want to order your 10-inch. And I'm like, well, you get all 3. They're like, oh, I didn't know that. Yeah. So whatever the description on the website says about sizes, you get those sizes. You
get them all on one sheet. And then again, you have those dotted lines you can just cut right down. And then you have all those options.
Yeah, so when you get one like this, a lot of people will be like, how do I use it? Well, you just cut down the dotted lines and to make your own pattern.
And you have 3 different ones.
But by keeping it this way, it allows you to get more patterns. Definitely more bang for your buck, for sure.
Right.
Different sizes, because you never know when you might want to use a different size.
Right.
Or if you know for sure you're not going to use that size, you can cut it off and gift it to a friend.
Very that.
So do we have any questions?
I think everyone's just saying hello.
Hi. Hi.
Yeah. We also stock and sell Urban Elements patterns.
Not all of them.
We don't have all of them because they have a very big catalog.
Yeah.
But we sell some of their most popular ones, and these are only kind of one size per thing.
Correct.
But they're very fun. They're very open designs. Like this one's a 6-inch one, and they just they have a bunch of different ones that are available as well.
Yeah, so if you just want a onesie pattern and you really like that design, we have a variety of those as well as what he's saying.
Correct.
And the sizes are on there for you. So yeah, in our 100 and 200 series, we have, well, all the way up to, we have over 200 patterns there. And then we have some designer patterns also. And 300, 400, 1500, 1600. There's a lot of different ones.
We have a ton of different
pantographs. 500 pantographs altogether.
A ton of different pantographs.
Yeah.
Normally something for every occasion.
Yeah, exactly. Normally. Exactly. So we wanted to kind of give that out there, give you a few specs on it first. Can you think of anything else before we go over to the machine?
No, I think we're good. I think until we get to machine. So I'm going to go set up machine.
Okay. Yeah, I got it.
Talk about those because they don't have dots. Talk about that.
Oh, okay. So we're going to show you, Corey's going over to set up the camera at the machine. Another difference between at least the Urban Elements patterns that we carry and our patterns, I'm not sure about other vendors out there because I haven't seen those patterns. These will not have the red dots that we're about to show you. So how to rotate, how to advance your quilt, things like that to make your patterns blend together. So these won't have the dots on them than what we're about to show you, but pretty much all of our patterns do come with the dots and show you how to advance. And we're going to kind of go out there and show you how to offset. If you needed to offset a pattern, our patterns are all made with the dots and the instructions on that. Right?
They are.
Okay, so you want to jump over there?
Let's head out to machine.
Okay.
And we'll let you give you a little demonstration.
What, you don't want to jump in and do it for me?
No. I'll add commentary.
Thank you.
How's that sound? There you go.
Alrighty, so what we have here is I kind of pretty much just put a pantograph out here on the table for you. And I'm not going to just quilt it out and do a bunch of different things. I just wanted to give you an idea of how I set it up. So first off, what I'm going to do is I'm going to either tape it to the table, or if you have plastic, you can put it underneath your plastic. And then I'm going to find where I'm going to need my beginning of my pattern, which I don't know if you can go up there. Can you get an idea?
Yeah.
Just kind of move it up. I'm going to find the beginning of my pattern, and how I find the beginning of my pattern is I set my needle to the top, what's that, left corner of the quilt. I had to turn around, left corner of the quilt, so then I know where I should begin. I should not quilt past that. If I quilt past that, then I'm going to quilt off the quilt. So this is kind of how you set up a pattern to get started, and then once you do the work at the beginning and set it up, you can do it, you're advancing row to row, and you knock it out pretty fast.
Right.
Okay, so then I have the beginning, and then I'll take it over here, and we'll say that this is the end right here. So then I said, okay, actually, I'm close enough.
That's pretty close, yeah.
This is going to be the end. And so I just make myself a little note here. Again, sticky note, paper. If you're on plastic, then you can do whatever you want. And then I make my marks kind of how I want to start and finish. So I do all the prep work ahead of time, so that way as I'm advancing the quilt, there's no other prep work. It's just going up and down on the dots, like we were talking about.
Right? Yeah.
So let's say, for instance, I'm ready to start. I want to find the best part on the pantograph to start. I will actually take my finger, and I'm going to use this so I'm not in the way, and I'm going to go and try to find the difference. I'm like, no, I can't start there. Oh, this will probably be a better start, because then I can get this top of the pantograph in there. If I started over here, then I'm going to actually be out, and then I would miss this, and I'd have to backtrack. So do a little prep work ahead of time, so that way every row is already prepared for you. So for here, I did this, and then I know I'm going to go this way. Okay, over here, I'm not sure, can you see that? I put some little arrows here, and you can make marks on your pantographs to remind me to go in this way and to go out that way. What you don't want to do is come backtrack, because then you'll do this, and then once you get to here, you'll be like, oh, and then you'll have to do a quick turn, which could cause like a skip stitch, or it might not look as pretty.
It might not look as pretty, or if you're kind of going quick and you're jolting out of that, the star doesn't end up closing.
Correct.
You don't have a closed star at that point.
Exactly. Good point. I forgot about that.
Yeah, you always want to make sure you're being able to close that by crossing over those lines properly. And you know, some of the pantographs that we have line work that change colors.
Correct.
Where you need to go in and go out of.
Yeah, some of the newer pantographs.
Some of the newer ones. Some of these, the earlier ones are just the solid black lines.
Yeah, the solid black lines. And so, like you said, some of the newer patterns, mainly the 200 series, have all the colors put in there for you. You know, more advanced, new technology.
But yeah, fair. But going in there and marking it with a Sharpie with those arrows really helps you do it on every single one.
You can do it on the paper,
Why not?
or if you wanted to change it up a little bit, you could throw a plastic over it and use an erase marker.
Do whatever you'd like, yeah.
So I'm going to say I'm going to start here, and you see I'm just going to practice first. You always want to practice it before you go over it the first time with the machine on. That way you can kind of catch yourself where you know you need to stop, how I'm going to do it. So here I'm going to go like here, and I'm going to go point, 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 point. And I'm doing that in my head. You know, or you can do it out loud too. You can make it a song. Point, 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 that kind of thing.
You didn't hit any one of those points when you were singing that song. Don't make it a song.
That's because I don't have both hands on. Well, if I wanted to put both hands on and get in the camera, I was trying to avoid the camera.
You're not in the camera.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
There. But, well, you know what? That's a good point, though. You don't have to stay on the pattern. If you try really hard to stay on this pattern, it's going to be hard. On any pattern that you have. It's a guideline. Always look ahead. You're driving a car. This is your road. It's a windy road. But just look ahead, and that makes it a little bit easier. Corey's laughing at me. It makes it a little bit easier, because if I try to look right on it and stay on it, it's gonna get. But if I look ahead, just like if you have the Pantovision, you look ahead when you're using it. It makes it so much easier.
It's not as rigid. It looks more natural. You're more comfortable. You don't get white knuckles. Your shoulders don't get as sore because you're just having fun with it. Now that doesn't mean go crazy, because you know, so it's got to lock in with itself.
Yeah. So I was just trying to get us over here to our red dots. So say for instance, I'm already done. I went to the end. Here I can't go farther, so I drew me a pattern. Right, so I'm going to come in here, go up and out. I'm going to go in here to the star, finish off my star, blah, 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 and then I'm done. Okay? It's time to rotate. What do I do now?
Oh,
so
I don't know. What do we do?
So what I do now is I actually will, excuse me, I will put the needle down for the instance on the machine. We'll pretend that it's down, and then I'm going to rotate my help me out. I'm talking to you.
You're gonna roll your quilt up, so it's gonna go.
Thank you.
So needle down. So laser light on that red dot at the very top. Needle down in the quilt.
So we're pretending that we're rotating. Corey, make the noise. And then you're going to stop your rotation of the quilt, or your advancing of the quilt where it says top of next row. So at that point, that's where you actually stop. And then your needle's still down in the quilt. You've advanced your quilt. You're here. So you know now it's going to inset properly because you're following your dots. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Am I confusing the crowd?
No.
You have those eyes like I'm confusing you.
No, you might want to go a click or two past the dot, because you do have to tighten up the quilt, the top.
Okay, make your noise.
Click, click.
You're right. I forgot about that point.
Yeah, so
it's been a while.
You're going to roll to that dot and then go 2 clicks past the dot. And what I mean by clicks are those little ratchets that are on your frame that hold the bars in place. So you're going to go about 2 clicks, and then you're going to end up tightening your quilt top. And when you do that, the laser then comes back into alignment with that dot.
Correct. I forgot about that.
That's
so
all
definitely,
good.
Go 2 clicks past, because you're going to have to tighten the quilt back up. And if you were right here when you tightened it, you'd be up here.
And then it throws off everything at that point.
You need to start right here.
Yeah.
So once you're on that row and you've done all that, you've tightened your quilt, you're happy, all you have to do is go back over to start again.
Once you pull your needle up.
Once you pull your needle up. And then do it again.
Right.
Now, if it's your first time doing it this way, I always say go up there and just kind of start, look down, and just double check that this point is not hitting the next point. Just as you learn how to do it. And then once you become a pro at it, you don't have to do that all the time.
Right.
But when I used to teach the class, I would say, hey, make sure that your points aren't going to match.
Yeah, I would double check, like put your like right there. I'd set my machine on a point like that. I'd go look at the front and make sure the needle isn't overlapping with anything I've already quilted.
Exactly.
Yeah, really good tip on that one.
Yeah, and then like I said, once you've got that figured out, you won't have to do it all the time. It's just a good way to say, yep, I rolled it properly. I was on my dots. I did my clicks right. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But then you'll notice that after that, that's all you do. You just rotate. It goes top. Every row. If you have 16 rows on the quilt, that would be a lot of quilting. But let's say 8 rows. You just do that every time, and then you just quilt because you've already done all the setup work. Okay?
Perfect. One thing I want you to show, or I can show it real quick while you come back here, is this is the perfect one to do it on.
Okay.
If you have a pattern that is, oh no, I'm so good at talking and I lost it. Offset? Pattern, no, not offset. Pattern that needs to be right side up. Directional. If you have a pattern that's directional.
Good point.
This pattern's non-directional. I could turn it left, right, upside down, right side up, and it would still quilt relatively the exact same way.
Yeah.
But some patterns, like this really cute music note pattern. Oh, wait, I'm too close. There we go. It's a really cute music note pattern. These are directional. They have to be quilted a certain way. So if you have the quilt top loaded, right sides, kind of up, you have to put this pattern upside down when you're quilting it, so it then reflect. Oh, there it went. That's why we tape it. So then it reflects properly on the quilt top. You just have to do this. You have to lay this one backwards because you have to think how it's going to look from the front of the machine, even though you're at the back.
That's true.
So one big thing is if you have a directional pattern, make sure it's going the correct direction.
Correct direction, and make sure that you loaded the fabric the correct direction too.
True.
So
if you loaded the quilt top upside down, then you would do this.
You can do it upside down.
You would do this upside down. But yeah, that's just always one thing to think about. Think about quilting this from the front of the machine, even though you're in the back, and that's how that pattern needs to look properly.
Good point. I forgot about that. Yep. So.
All right, my one little tip for the evening.
So I think that another type of pattern that there's not a lot out there. Well, I guess there probably is actually. We just don't have a huge amount of them. Are the offset patterns? So
we actually have quite a few.
Do we?
Yeah, we actually have quite a few.
Did you want to bring the camera in to show a little closer, or you want to?
I can go up there and do it.
Okay. All right. So I had a quick question for Mandy. She said, "Would you do that in precision or cruise?" So like
quilting.
Yeah. So like you probably would. You would definitely want to try to do it in like a stitch regulator. So if it when you're following the pattern.
I think, but she's talking, Anovas have a feature called Cruise. She's talking about an Anova feature.
Okay.
I would probably use Cruise. I think it's just more fun and easier.
Okay. Yeah. There you go, Cruise.
But Cruise, or certain machines call it Coast Regulate.
Yeah.
There's different ideas for it.
Yeah.
But the ability for using that is if you have a lot of points in the design.
Correct.
And you're slowing down into that point, your machine's still going slowly, so it has nice sharp points instead of rounded edges.
So yeah, Cruise, I can see how you
So
do that.
I like Cruise and pantographs personally. Cool. That's just my opinion.
That sounds awesome. Alrighty, you want to go ahead and flip over and show how the offset?
Sure. Okay, so this is another pattern that we have. This is mainly used for borders, but you can also use it for edge-to-edge designs. And this one comes with a bunch of different sizes along with corners and blocks. The descriptions will tell you kind of everything in the pattern.
Yeah.
But for this one right here, it has a bunch of red dots. Lot going on per row. And so we just wanted to show you how this kind of worked. So Diana just got done showing you, when you're done with this pattern, you'll set your laser light at the top. You'll roll your machine with the needle down, roll that quilt up slowly to that red dot, and then 2 clicks past it, okay? And that's going to give you your spacing for the rows. Of course, you'll tighten that back up. Your laser should end up back there. But for this pattern, you probably don't want these sitting right on top of one another all the way down. So you have an option to offset the pattern, okay? So while your machine is still sitting right here on this dot, you've rolled up the fabric, laser is sitting right here, you're going to shift the pattern, not the machine, not the quilt, shift the pattern over. Remember, laser is about right here. Until that laser is over that other dot.
Correct.
Once that laser's over that offset row dot, you are good to go.
Then
you
just go back
pull
to
up the needle,
right?
you go to the beginning, you start stitching. Call it done. And you just shift back and forth between these as you're rolling, and that's going to give you an offset design by following the different dots.
Alrighty. Did you guys all get that? Because actually Barb had that question, so right before you showed it.
Yeah. But I like offset patterns. I just think it's having the dots on them makes it a whole lot easier.
Oh, for sure.
But that would give you that ability to kind of, chevron it down basically down the quilt, as opposed to having them all stack right on top of one another.
Yeah, well, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Definitely good. Definitely good. So, do you have a favorite pattern?
I do, 100%.
I know.
Hold on. Let me move the pattern and I'll show you. Oh, I didn't mean to drop that. Sorry. I do. My favorite pattern is right here on this quilt. This is pattern 1312. This is Puddles in the Rain. It just works.
I
for
think he
everything.
uses that for almost every
edge-to-edge quilt that I do, because I do a lot of just sample stuff. It goes on that immediately. Done. Sold. And it just works. It eats up fullness really well too, if there's fullness in the quilt. But pattern 1312, that is my favorite pattern.
Yeah, he really likes
That's
that.
by Jackie Brown.
Yep, it is. There's a lot of patterns that I like, but I actually like the simple feather meandering.
Oh,
because you get, I don't think I have that in here. You might, I don't know.
Oh, no, it's down there. I got it.
Oh, yeah, see, grab it. So he'll grab that simple, because I didn't even think about that. Simple feather meandering is just, it has like feathers, curves, points, everything that it won't matter if you make a mistake.
True.
You can't tell.
And before I open this up, this is for class, so there's a lot of white on the sides.
Yeah.
They come full size, trust me.
Yeah, they're different. This is a class one.
But this is just that you have to grab right there.
Okay.
This
So
is a
we can
class one.
teach them things.
But this is Mom's favorite design, Simple Feather Meandering.
And it's a simple one. It's number 75, not the number 16.
Yes, 75, Simple Feather Meandering. And ironically, it's also printed on the wash-away fabric that we sell.
Oh, that's right.
Simple Feather Meandering's
Yeah.
on there.
Yeah, so in it, it has all the marks. It's just opener. It's more open, sorry.
Opener.
More open than 16, or the original one. But, I mean, you can see how it doesn't matter. You got so many points, curves. If you mess up, nobody's going to know.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to know.
Nobody's going to know. It's fine. It's fine.
It's fine.
But yeah, no, it's a really, really good design. And
Yeah.
because it is kind of that staple design that Linda came up with,
Yeah.
it is on that wash-away ink fabric that we have
I totally
as well.
forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you ever wanted to practice that ahead of time.
Or
Yeah.
you wanted to actually do it on your quilt.
Exactly.
You load it upside down. We have a video for that.
That's right, you're right. We do have some full in-depth videos on how to do pantograph patterns, so.
Yeah, this was a very crash course,
Yeah, exactly.
fast. But we do have those kind of step-by-step
Yeah, just go into,
ones.
on our page, we taught you on the last video, go into our page and then go into the search on the page. And then if you just type in pantograph patterns, pantograph quilting, there's probably 3 or 4 of them. Linda does a really good one on our page, and then I think it's a pretty decent one. And then we go over all this stuff again in depth. So, and those are pretty in-depth videos that show you step by step on how to do the patterns.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
So, all right, did we have any questions? Because I think that's all we really had tonight. We just wanted to give them like a quick view of the patterns that we carry, how they come, why the lines are there, and to see if they had any questions.
Alrighty.
Ready?
I think that's good. No,
Okay.
yeah, no, I think that's a good hit for it.
Okay.
If you have not already, make sure you are subscribed to our channel. It's right down
Please.
at the bottom right-hand corner. And give this video a big thumbs up. That just
And tell
keeps
your
them going.
friends. Yeah, definitely tell your friends about us if you have some quilting friends. So we have all kinds of videos.
Yes, we do.
All kinds.
Yeah, we do. Alrighty. Well, thank you all so much for joining us tonight here on After Hours.
Yes.
We look forward to seeing you next time when we take a dive into some feather quilting.
We are?
We're going to do some feather quilting off of some of the fancy feather books.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, we're going to dive in back to those. We started that a couple months ago.
Yeah.
We're bringing it back. It was super popular.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
we want to bring that one
And
back.
we all love learning a little freehand technique.
Oh, yeah, you're going to do it. I'm going to sit there and watch. You're in
Yeah,
charge.
can we use a pantograph?
No, you can't use a pantograph, ma'am. I'm
I
sorry.
can do the pantograph.
No pantographs. No pantographs. Alrighty, y'all. We will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.